what's the average salary for a music producer after being involved in the licensing industry for several years. While I would love to give you guys a sort of definite answer and say it's, 50 grand, 75 grand, 100 grand, I can't give you those sort of guarantees, and nobody can really give you those guarantees because obviously there is so much out of our control in this industry. The only thing you can really control is obviously the quality of music that you produce and the quality of libraries that you partner with. Now, I've heard of horror stories of producers that have been involved in this industry for about as long as I have, and they've made maybe hundreds of dollars, like or maybe less than that. I've definitely gotten emails from producers that are like, Jesse, I've been in this for 5-10 years. I have, sometimes I've heard these stories where they had like 300 or 400 tracks in the system and they haven't gotten any placements at all. And so obviously my red flag starts going off, and I'm like, okay, you're obviously doing something wrong. If you're in this business for that long and you're not seeing any placements or any growth, okay, one of two things. You're not making the right kinds of music, or the libraries that you're partnering with, they probably went to sleep on you. They weren't really legitimate to begin with. Or maybe the music that you were creating, maybe they just took anything because they wanted a lot of music, but you weren't really giving the music that they needed for their clients, right? So there are so many variables in there, but basically the things that you can control as a producer is the quality of music that you make and the quality of libraries that you can work with. Even that's obviously out of your control because you have to get accepted by them, but you can get accepted by them by using, Sync Academy tutorials, for example, to learn how to make licensable music. So obviously in various parts of the country, you have the big cities where 50 grand will barely get you by. That probably won't be enough to really get you ahead and start saving. You can probably pay your bills maybe. It depends on obviously where in the city you live, how low your expenses could get. But if you're in the middle of the country where it's a lot lower, 50 grand, you can be living easy. I mean, that could be a lot of money actually to take care of a lot of your expenses. So I wish I could give you guys a definite number, but it really is because you've heard of probably both sides of the spectrum, but producers that make millions of dollars in this industry definitely happens, and producers that are striking out and they're not getting anything. So what I would definitely recommend is, rather than focusing on that number, because that number is really out of your control in so many ways, focus instead on what you can do right now, right? Which is improve your production quality, partner with really good quality libraries. Dovetailed into that advice, I would say, do what you can to minimize your monthly expenses, okay? I would definitely say that most people, not just producers, are only focusing on one half of the equation, and they're only thinking about, well, I need to make more money. How do I make more money? I got to make more money. While they're also buying, all these subscriptions, and they're buying a new car, and they're upgrading everything, and they're remodeling their house, and they're doing all this stuff, putting themselves in debt, or just swiping their credit cards on a bunch of junk that they don't really need. And they're just focusing on the wrong side of the equation because they're like, well, I got to get a lot of money to keep paying for all this stuff that I want. So if you start to eliminate or minimize a lot of these expenses, that break-free moment where you have enough money with your royalties to allow you to do this full time comes a lot sooner, because this isn't weighing you down. This isn't sort of that big obligation that you have to start to take care of in order to get to that freedom point. So focus on what you can control today. That would be my advice for that.